Hello, Kansas City. What's up? I'm the host / producer of the Benchwarmers. My name is Brad Ross, and sitting by me always is the one, the only, Ian Yoakum. Ian, how are you?
I'm doing great. It is a beautiful day outside. Finally, no rain, so we've been having some great spring weather outside.
Yeah, it's hard to complain. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about on our show. We're going to talk about Jamaal Charles signing with the Broncos, and then at 12:15 we're going to transition about the Royals. We got the headlines at the bottom of the hour, and then we're going to close our show out with some fun NBA insight between Ian and I. But first, let's go with the first topic.
All right, so, of course, as you heard the news last Monday, this broke after our show last week. Jamaal Charles signed with, yes, the Denver Broncos. All right, so this was definitely difficult for a lot of Chiefs fans, especially me, I don't want to say especially me, but for anybody who's just a huge Jamaal Charles fan, not only just a Chiefs fan, but Jamaal Charles was my favorite player ever, and then seeing him sign with the Denver Broncos, it's a reality, and it really hurts. But, it's business. It's the way it works in the NFL. And everybody acknowledges it. Even Charles himself has acknowledged it. But, of course, there's been some controversy that has come along with it, not just because he signed with the Broncos, but because of some things that Charles has actually said.
Well, I think if you consider yourself a hardcore Chiefs fan, that automatically puts you in the category of hardcore Jamaal Charles fan. There's not a Chiefs fan out there that doesn't like him. There's nothing he does on the field or off the field that makes him really controversial, except for now, with the signing of the Broncos. Now people are starting to be torn apart and starting to, really put out the hate. And it all started with the reports. There was reports going out that Jamaal Charles was visiting the Broncos, and it really started from there. And people were thinking two things, like, there's no way he can sign with that team because that's our enemy. And then there was the people out there saying, well, guess what? The Chiefs cut him. They weren't willing to pay him, and he deserves every right to go anywhere where he gets a chance.
Yeah, and to people who are saying, well, why did he choose Denver of all places? Well, who else was giving Jamaal Charles a look? Nobody. Nobody was talking to him. Nobody was even considering Jamaal Charles. There were reports that maybe the Packers were interested, but this was coming after Charles was already visiting with the Broncos, getting ready to take his physical and all that, and pretty much pending that physical, he was going to be signed by the Broncos. So just that alone, I can't really fault Charles for signing with the Broncos because he still feels like he has a lot left in the tank.
But once he signed with them, then he opened his mouth, and that started the controversy.
Yeah, so here's just some of the things that I really took issue with, and I'm kind of over it now, but I was pretty upset about it at the time. Here's some of the things that Jamaal Charles said in an interview as soon as he signed with the Broncos. Quote, "I always wanted to play for Denver. Growing up, John Elway was one of my favorite players." Ouch. Okay, so that stings a little bit, but, you can't help it if he supposedly was a Broncos fan growing up. But then he said, they say it's a business, but it's personal as well. Wow, so now it's becoming more than just a business decision. Now it's technically a personal thing in Charles' eyes.
He's taking shots at everybody over here in Kansas City.
He is, not just the organization, but he should know that the fans are going to feel that as well. And then after that, he wasn't done yet. Then he said, "I'm just happy I get to play the Chiefs twice a year." So if you didn't think he was upset or angry about being let go before that, then that comment right there just proves that he's ready to get vengeance on the Chiefs. And in a way, I don't blame him for, I guess, wanting to get back at your former team for not giving you a chance. But at the end of the day, like, if you say something like this to the team that you've played for so many years, and I mean, something like this is going to anger the fan base, right?
Well, here's an idea. he said he was looking forward to playing the Chiefs twice a year. Everybody took it so negatively, like he wants to seek out revenge. What if he meant it in a way that he's excited to, reunite with his old teammates and the coach, and he gets to see them twice a year and say hi? What do you think about that?
Maybe if you take it out of context, but I feel like in the context of the interview, before that he said it's personal to him. Like, it's not just a business thing. Like, he's taking it personally. So I feel like that all just kind of has a negative connotation to it. But he did say, excuse me, a few days later, he joined this podcast called Unmatched Sports with Cal Jones. I don't know what that is, who that is, but he said on the podcast, I felt like it was more personal to the Chiefs than it was to me. Them letting me go, I love this community. I did a lot. I sweat, bleed, 2 ACLs, meniscus. I left it all out here in Kansas City. My heart will always be in Kansas City. It's nothing personal. So he went from saying that it was personal to saying it wasn't personal. Those are two ideas that obviously directly contradict each other. And so I'm not exactly sure what to think. Did he feel some of the backlash from Chiefs fans and then decide to kind of backtrack and do a little bit of damage control? Like, what is he actually feeling? Because I will not mind at all if he's fine with the decision, he understands why the Chiefs let him go, and he doesn't take it personally, because I feel like he shouldn't. After tearing your ACL twice, taking a lot of money out of the cap, and then not playing for so many games over a 2-year span, you got to understand that, it is a business decision, and the Chiefs are going to move on from you. Yes, you've done a lot for this team, and I didn't want to see Jamaal Charles go. I wish that the Chiefs would have signed him to a cheaper contract. I wish they would have been able to restructure that. And Jamaal Charles even said that he would have been willing to take a pay cut to stay with the team. But at the end of the day, if the team who has been around you, they know what they have in you, if they feel like they need to move on, it just happens. It's business. It's nothing personal. And so I just wish he hadn't said in the first place that it was personal if he feels like it isn't personal.
Well, he says that it's a business decision, and for the Chiefs, I gotta call him out on it, and I say it's a bad business decision by the Chiefs, because the Broncos signed him for almost nothing. I mean, the actual guaranteed money, it's less than $1 million, and really that's nothing when it comes to the cap and spending money on a possible running back that could really contribute to the team. So for the Chiefs, that was really a bad move by them. I know he said afterwards that he would have signed for less, but we don't know what's going behind those closed doors between Jamaal Charles and the Chiefs. We aren't there, so we can't really decipher what really happens in those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the actual decision goes, I really would have liked to see him stay, but maybe the Chiefs just felt he didn't have any left in the tank. And when he did come in last year in that Raiders game, I thought he looked pretty good. I didn't see the same bursts of speed and acceleration, and just, when he takes the carry, the way he just bursts through the hole, I didn't see the same sort of speed from him. I think he is getting up there in age, and yes, when you have all these knee problems that he had, it wasn't just that torn ACL. Once he got back out there on the field, he started having issues with his knees swelling up. So I feel like they just saw all these health concerns, and they just wanted to move on from it. And honestly, in Denver, I really don't see Jamaal Charles having a very big impact. I think he's definitely starting to go downhill, and I think the Chiefs saw that. And as much as I hate to see him go downhill, I really, really don't see him being very productive with the Broncos.
Well, I think it's really the Chiefs' fault for the reason he has all these knee problems in the first place. More specifically, the ones last year with his meniscus. I think the Chiefs probably rushed him back too early, and that's why he wasn't too easy to come on the field, and he didn't look right, and then within a couple games he was gone.
I mean, that's a fair point, because Justin Houston felt like maybe he was rushed back. And
he was definitely rushed back.
Yeah, because after that, I mean, I'll say, yeah, he had a great game against Denver the first time around, but he just trailed off after that. He clearly wasn't as fast as he used to be. I think maybe he was rushed back from the injury. And there's just been other injury concerns with this team, like Jeremy Maclin, Alan Bailey, just guys that need to be healthy, just haven't been healthy. So that is a very fair point. Maybe there's something going on with the Chiefs as far as strength and conditioning goes, and maybe that's why Jamaal Charles has had many health concerns. But I don't know. At the end of the day, with guys like him, torn ACLs, they happen. Maybe it could have been managed better, but I mean, it's so hard to it's so hard to protect against that sometimes when you have a guy like Jamaal Charles who makes a living being fast and using those knees to cut, and sometimes it snaps, and maybe he could have been managed better. And I don't think the injury management here in Kansas City is great at all, just given the injury history. But I don't know. Regardless of what we think about that, I still don't think he's healthy enough to really be a factor from this point forward. So
I believe that the Broncos, behind CJ, is it CJ Anderson?
Yeah, CJ Anderson.
Who's a little iffy at times, and there's another running back there. I'm having trouble remembering his name.
I think you're thinking of Devontae Booker.
Yeah,
who's good. He's not great.
Both those guys are kind of like inconsistent last year, kind of like the Chiefs running backs in a way, where they showed up for a couple games here and there, and in other games there was no running game at all. And with a quarterback that the Broncos have, that's a huge issue if your running game's out there. The Chiefs were lucky enough to have Alex Smith, and where he's okay enough to not to make too many mistakes. But I think that Jamaal Charles, if he's not the number one running back to go to there, and he's had all this time to recover, I definitely think that he can. I don't know, I can't put a number on it. Maybe 80% what he used to be. And if you put 80% on one of the best running backs I've ever seen in my life, that's still pretty darn good.
Right. I don't even know if it'll be 80%. It's so hard for me to imagine him being productive this season.
Obviously 80% or 85% would be like the best case scenario.
Right.
But I don't see him going out there and, tearing some kind of muscle in the second game. I don't see that happening. And if you follow him on Instagram, he's uploading all these motivational videos, and maybe it's a little lame of me to buy into that, because anybody can make a video like that. I could cut up a video and post it on Instagram and convince people I'm going to the NFL. That doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean I can run a 40 in under 6 seconds.
Yeah, and you hear all these stories in the off season about so and so is in the best shape of his life. I feel like I heard that with Alex Smith just a few weeks ago. He's in great shape. He is in the best shape he's ever been. He's ready to go. Okay. I just want to see it on the football field. And we hear that so many times with players, it seems like. In the offseason, they're looking good or whatever. But, it doesn't always translate to the field. Every player's working hard in the offseason. So, with Jamaal Charles, I'm not buying it till I see it. I wish him the best. I hope he doesn't get injured again. I just don't see him being productive in Denver.
Yeah, I also wish him the best. I have no hard feelings. The things he said kind of contradict each other, but I just believe Jamaal Charles is a nice guy, and he means no wrong. And the things he says, he might not be thinking clearly. And I just hope he goes out there and does great, but not good enough for the team to actually improve.
Yeah, against the Chiefs, let's just hope that he gets stuffed for 0 yards, but doesn't get hurt.
Exactly.
That's all I can say. All right, so after that Jamaal Charles talk, let's transition into the other team here in Kansas City. And no, I'm not talking about Sporting Kansas City. I'm talking about the Kansas City Royals. All right, so the Royals, an update on the Royals. They now stand at 10-20. Yeah, it's still going pretty badly for the Royals. But what did we say last week? We had a bet going back to that. I said that the Royals we're going to win 2 games this week. You said 4?
I went with 4 games, and the reason because of that. You think that the Royals could win 4 out of 7. That would put you up 4-3 in the last week, and that would be a step in the right direction. And it seemed like at every win they had the opportunity to put, a couple wins together. But they didn't do that. They kept losing after that, and they just couldn't put a streak together. And you saw this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, why did I even limit it to those days? This whole week,
right.
You saw them struggling to score runs consistently. And I think yesterday was the cherry on top with the 0 runs, 1 hit against pretty much everybody's calling him a triple-A pitcher. He wasn't even on the starting roster for these Indians, and he's only there because of injury. And he's basically a triple-A. He's never pitched 6 innings in his whole life in the big leagues. And, the Royals struck out, I think, 11 total.
Yeah,
the whole game.
It's pretty sad, and by the way, that's 3 wins this week. So we were both off by 1. It was right in the middle. So of course, if this is a Price is Right thing, you win over. So
yeah,
I take this.
I guess so.
I win this. Just kidding. No, but really, yesterday for me, I just that was just about it. Like, I really don't think this team can make the playoffs or even be competitive. I understand it's May 8th. And in general, I've heard people say June 1st is a good date to wait and be patient until then. And I get that. But you wouldn't say that about a team, let's say a Little League team wants to enter the majors. Give them until June 1st to say that they're not going to be good. No, they're going to lose every game because they're a Little League team. Not saying the Royals are a Little League team, but they are a bad team right now. I'm not even going to give them until June 1st because I think they are so awful right now that they cannot turn it around.
Yeah, well, this is where I stand. Okay, so the whole June 1st thing or the May 31st or whatever, that was for when I give up hope on the team.
Right.
It's not when
it hasn't been just you, though.
It's not, yeah, but for me, that's not when I say that the team's done, that they can't win. It's just when I give up hope. Like, I don't believe it's going to happen. Technically, yeah, it could still happen. But they've been playing so poorly that now you draw the line, and I'm saying my hope I'm giving up my hope now, That's how poorly. And, yeah, they improved this last week. Then instead of losing 9 in a row, they went 3-4. But, you look at these guys specifically, individually, and you're thinking, okay, well, if this guy improves, if he hits more balls, if his batting average improves, this team's going to be better. Well, we saw Eric Hosmer improve, right?
He's now second in the team.
Yeah, he's batting .268.
By 1 point. How did that happen so quickly? That's insane.
Well, he had like 2-3 games back-to-back hits, or double-digit. Not double-digit, multi-hit games.
Right.
And that was really exciting. And his batting average shot straight up, good enough to, trade him.
Shot to .268, which is second on the team behind Lorenzo Cain's .269.
But, okay, his average improved. He's hitting better. But guess what? This team's still losing. And yesterday they only had 1 hit against one of the lamest pitchers you could hit. You could lose against.
And Andrew Clevinger, was that his name? Am I remembering that correctly?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Man, it's just bad. Like, it would be one thing if it came against Madison Bumgarner. They hit better against Bumgarner than Clevinger. It's just, I don't even know what to say at this point. I thought that the offense was going to get better. And arguably, like, maybe they're even getting worse. I'm not seeing improvement. I understand there were a couple of games this past week against the White Sox. They put up 6 runs, and they looked pretty good in those games offensively. But other than that, shutout by Chicago in the second game. Shutout by Cleveland yesterday, held to 1 hit. So it doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Yeah, if you have a strategy for your fantasy baseball team, I think the idea here is to look at the Royals schedule, and if any of the pitchers they are facing are available, you sign them up, and they'll pitch you a great outing, which I did. I think it was either Friday or Saturday. I picked up the Indians pitcher. I wasn't doing it intentionally, but I still picked him up because I was thinking, well, this guy's probably going to do good.
Right.
Really quick, it's 12:20. I'm 20 minutes late to this, but I wanted to mention that we're giving out a prize today.
Oh, of course.
Go ahead. If you want to win the prize, this is what you do. You're going to text the text line 816-287-0090. That's 816-287-0090. Go ahead and send us a text. We'll go ahead and say the secret word is Mahomes.
Mahomes,
you
remember
text
that.
us Mahomes, and you will win a free K-Roo Radio Benchwarmers prize.
Yeah, can't wait. You don't want to miss it. So remember that the keyword is Mahomes, and if you don't know how to spell it, you can either give your best shot and we'll know what you're trying to spell, or just Google it. I mean, it's not too difficult to spell. Just sound it out. M-A. You know what? No, I'm not telling you. Go look it up.
Yeah, that's extra work for you guys. All right, so anyways, back to the Royals. Remember at the beginning of the year when they were second in home run total? And we're thinking, well, this is our offense.
Man.
They're not even doing that now. If you look at the rankings, I looked it up yesterday, and I believe they're 27th in home runs. So they're once again the basement of the league. In almost every offensive statistical category, they're in last.
Yeah, and I just want to a point I want to make about this transition to becoming a power hitting offense. I just don't think it really works for the Royals. I think they're meant to be a small ball team with the players that they have on the roster. I don't really think they have enough, power hitting guys. If you want to look at Moustakas and Perez, Moustakas is 7 home runs, Perez is 6. They kind of slowed down. Like, they started off the year pretty hot, hitting home runs, and all of a sudden that's not happening anymore. I just, even guys like that, I just don't think this is meant to be a power hitting team. Now we have Jorge Soler back from his injury, which seemed like forever, but it's going to take him a while to get used to coming to the plate again.
Let me ask you this question. Okay, so Give me a guess. What do you think Salvador Perez's career average is in the major leagues?
Career average, I would go with, he started off pretty hot. It was like he was always, getting around 290, 300. Then it kind of started going down. I'm going to say 270.
271. That was really close.
Wow.
Yeah, but anyways, but when's the last time he hit close to 271? That's got to be 3 years, and every single year you look at his stats, they're consistently going down.
Yeah, I wonder why. What is the reason for that? Is he trying to swing for the fences more? Because I do notice that. He
swings at everything.
Yeah, he swings at everything. He tries to hit maybe not every ball out of the park, but I think maybe he's trying to become more of a power guy, and that was evident in the first part of the season because he was hot hitting home runs, and then, I don't know, just trailed off. He's currently hitting 245. I've noticed that he's trailed off as far as hitting goes.
The reason
averages.
The reason I said that this guy is a 30 home run guy is because, well, you look at his batting average. It went from 331 in 2011, and every year it went down. 301, 292, 260, 260 again, 247, and now we're looking at 245. Who would have thought that he could get worse than 247? That's not good at all. And so I was thinking that he lost all this weight in the offseason, and he's really going to crack down on his plate discipline like he said he was. And, with the more hits, the more home runs would come in. Well, that's not the case. He has 6 home runs on the year, and he's well on his way to 30. But recently it's gotten cold, and with that comes the strikeouts, the no-hits, and his batting average is dropping tremendously.
Yeah, and I honestly think it has a lot to do with the fact that the rest of the team is struggling, and I think psychologically that can make you do worse at the plate. And I think that's one thing that's going on with this team, and not just with Salvi, it's with the rest of the team. There's something just in the air in that dugout, and with that team that nobody can hit. Like, I know Eric Hosmer's, he's been hot lately, but even Lorenzo Cain has trailed off. Salvador Perez is not, he continues to get worse. Moustakas has kind of cooled down a little bit. Guys who hit very well last year, like Whit Merrifield's hitting 193, Escobar's at 183. Alex Gordon he's getting worse. He's at 171. This entire team is just in some sort of inexplicable offensive funk, and this would be a very good team if it had even a decent offense, because the pitching has done great. Like Duffy had a terrific outing yesterday. Who would have known that his offense would have given him one hit? Like, it's too bad that one hit wasn't a home run. It would have been 1-1, but he just, man, it's very, very frustrating to see these pitching performances get wasted by just inept offense.
Yeah, I have a theory here. Let's see. Okay, so my idea here, I just thought of it, that those guys who hit 30, 40 home runs a year, what if they're not actually that valuable? Because you look at players like Brandon Moss, you look at him, and when does he hit his home runs? I know he had one in the 9th inning. One of his 4 home runs was in the 9th inning, and it came at an important time. But the other times, they just come when the bases are empty. That's his only job, is to hit home runs. We're not going to try to sugarcoat it. That's what he does. That's his job. That's why he bats .220 last year, because his job is to go up there and hit home runs as much as possible and cross his fingers that he doesn't strike out 140 times like he did last year. And, I mean, would you rather have guys who get on base regularly, hit, somewhere between 260 to 320, or even better than that if they can? Or do you want guys to go up there and strike out every time until they hit a home run? That doesn't really matter. You look at some of these guys like Brian Dozier. He hit 43 home runs last year for the Twins. Twins didn't go anywhere. You look at Nelson Cruz, who hit 43 for Seattle. No playoffs. Nelson Cruz, 43 home runs. See, Chris Davis did Oakland. They didn't make the playoffs, right?
No, they were terrible.
They signed Billy Butler. Why? Because he could possibly be a power guy. Well, that backfired. So I'm thinking the reason the Royals won in the last couple of years is because they didn't have anybody like that. Nobody thought, I'm going to go out there and crank home runs. That's my job. No, maybe this whole thing about keeping the line moving was really legit.
Yeah.
And we took it for granted. And now we're stuck with these power guys, especially Jorge Soler, who, might be kind of like who his numbers won't really matter if he's hitting home runs when they don't matter.
I know, and I think with those type of guys, it helps to have hitters who can get on base, and then when you hit those home runs, they can be 2, 3, 4-run home runs or grand slams. I think it definitely helps to have that. But, yeah, what you said, I mean, the Royals won a championship by having this keep the line moving mentality. And honestly, if I'm building a team, I'm going to go with that instead of all this, trying to get this powerful lineup where everybody can hit a home run. Because from what I've seen, the Royals can win without hitting that many home runs. They just keep the line moving. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break, but when we get back, we still got our headlines of the week that we want to get through. And then we got some hot takes in the NBA. Ian and I think that we might have a solution to improve on the playoff picture. We'll get to that and much more coming up on the Benchwarmers. What do you think about that hot take? Home run hitters are way overvalued.
Hey, this is Sad. Listen to my Mega Music Hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. K-Roo Student Radio, UMKC, Kansas City.
There are exceptions. The Judge guy, but they're playing against your team. It's tiny. They're playing to the field's strength. Kaufman is so gigantic.
I used to go to Swinney and watch heroes like Kirksey, Corver, Agent Zero. With Lee, Leathers, and O'Connor, the other team will be a gunner. They play basketball at UMKC, all while earning a college degree. And number 33, my man Brad Reed, is the center on my starting team. Tune in for all your sports coverage on K-Roo.
Hey guys, this is Casey. Make sure you check in every Wednesday from 3 to 5 for my show, The Ox. I'll be playing tons of great new music, so you can hear it first on K-Roo.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay. Listen to The Lindsay Show Mondays 4 to 6 on K-Roo.
You know, K-Roo listeners, I love you, and I love rock and roll. And if you love rock and roll, listen to Archive 59 with me, Brian Will, from 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday nights, only on K-Roo.
Tune in to K-Roo March 9th through the 12th for all of your Summit League tournament coverage.
It hurts my feelings when you don't listen. If you don't listen, I will hurt this puppy. Think about the puppies.
What's up? This your girl Aisha, aka DJ Retro from E&J Show. Tune in at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I slap a little bit of this and that. You listen to K-Roo.
Heart Stars and Horseshoes, Clovers and K-Roo. You're listening to K-Roo, Student Radio.
I feel the need for K-Roo.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and listen to K-Roo every once in a while, you might miss it. You're listening to K-Roo, Student Radio.
The program you're listening to is sponsored by the UMKC College Republicans. The views and opinions expressed do not reflect those of K-Roo Student Radio.
Are you going on a wild road trip, hosting a dance party for one? Or are you stuck in your dorm wondering how to tie your shoes? Look no further. Listen to Hop and Jams with Laura Hop, Wednesdays and Fridays at noon to hear some groovy tunes fit for any of these situations.
I hate to say this, guys, because he's normally an idiot, but Rand Paul may be right on this one.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Let's hope they find all the good acorns on the Democratic side of the aisle.
I'm not asking them to be Democrats. I'm just asking them to not be Republicans.
All right, listen, here's what it is. Tune into All That's Left, the best liberal show on the air, on K-Roo, every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. That's Central Standard Time, the best standard time. And here's what I'm going to do for you. If you listen, we promise not to put your grandma on Obama's death panel list. So listen.
All right, welcome back to the Benchwarmers. So earlier I said that if you text 816-287-0090 that you could win a cool prize. Well, guess what? We had a texter come in and claim his prize, and I'll go ahead and have him introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Brandon Freeland.
All right, Brandon, what do you do here at UMKC?
I'm a physics major, just about to graduate.
Cool. And you want to tell the listeners the awesome prize you got?
It's a bottle cozy.
Oh, so you're calling it a cozy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out, because we were having this debate earlier, not here on the show, but before the show, whether it's called a cozy or a koozie. I mean, what is it actually called? Because we hear people say it each way. So,
I called it a koozie for the longest time. My dad calls it cozy. I've heard other people call it koozies. It's a really hot topic right now that we're debating on the show.
Oh, I've only heard it cozy, but
you've only heard it cozy, because I've heard it both ways, and I don't know what I would call it. I don't know which one I like better.
I like koozie better.
Koozie, cozy. I just like calling it my can holder, cup holder, whatever, what have you. All
right, so Brandon's going to stick around for a little bit through the headlines of the week, since he said when he came in that he loves sports. You want to throw out some of your favorite teams out there?
Well, the Chiefs are definitely one, and I'm a KU fan.
Yeah, you've been watching the NBA playoffs much?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm a big Celtics fan. So.
Yeah. Ian believes that it's going to be Cavs and Warriors all the way. I strongly believe that the Celtics are going to be the team that breaks that circle and makes it to the finals. They're a solid team, and the defense is a little lacking, but I think they got extra motivation to make it this year.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely for Celtics, but I think just the way the playoffs are set up, there's just no way.
It's impossible.
It's just impossible.
Too many games.
We're going to talk about the headlines of the week first, and then we're actually going to go into a segment about how we fix the NBA playoffs. So if you have any good thoughts for that, let's hold it till then. So anyways, it's time for the headlines of the week.
There we go. I thought for a second you just like switched the track, and I didn't even know about it.
All right. So headlines of the week, that's where Ian and I get the most exciting, or at least the biggest stories going around the sports world that we thought we should mention. So the Big Baller brand has released its first basketball shoe for Lonzo Ball called the ZO2s. The price for these bad boys? $495.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
So
Who's going to
insane.
spend money on that?
So insane.
I was watching, what's it called? Undisputed? That Fox show with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. And LeVar Ball was on there. Normally I would have changed the channel immediately, but I was like, oh, well, this is going to be a topic on our show today. So I'll go ahead and listen to what he has to say. You know, they were asking him about his comments that he made on Twitter about, what was it? It was something like, if you can't afford to buy this shoe, then you're not a baller.
You're not a real baller.
Yeah,
a great baller.
Real baller. So they asked him to clear that up, and he's like, no. See, what I'm saying is, if you don't have them, you're not a baller. Now, you can work for it. You got to work for it, and then get it, and then become a baller. It's like, that doesn't make what you said any better.
I used to be a Lakers fan. I've since renounced that over the last year. I'm not part of that organization. Not because they're losing, but just because I don't have any relevance since Kobe retired. There's been a lot of stories about how he would fit great with the Lakers. If I was the owner of an NBA team, I would say, heck no, I don't want anybody from that family near my team. Because it sounds like to me that basketball is not their main focus.
Yeah, it's more just the publicity.
Right.
Making money, getting the publicity out there.
100%. And I think he knows that, and I think he enjoys all the negative attention. So I'm just kind of like, I wish ESPN would stop reporting about it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he's going to keep going.
All right, so Jay Cutler has decided to retire and is now heading to Fox as a TV analyst, similar to what Tony Romo did just a couple weeks ago. Do you think it was a smart decision?
I mean, sure, why not? A smart decision on Fox's part or Jay Cutler's?
Both.
Both? I would say, Yes, because I've heard Jay Cutler. Yes to both, because I've heard Cutler is a good. He's good in the interviews where broadcasters during the week they interview the coaches and players and stuff, and they say he's a pretty cool guy that has a lot to say. So I think it's a good decision on Fox's part. And Cutler, he's probably done. I mean, I don't think any team wants him. So.
Yeah. I was about to say his quarterback career is pretty much over. He just did not have that winning mentality anymore.
I mean, who's gonna have him be their starter anyway?
Right.
And I just looked it up. He's 34 years old, so that's a lot. That's actually a lot older than I was thinking. But at 34, a guy who's known to not really give it his all mentally, I think he has a bad rap. He's battled diabetes in his lifetime, and he's never really had a great team around him. But if he thinks that he doesn't really want to play anymore, then go ahead and retire. I can't wait to hear what he says on Fox, because I'm not sure how that will work out, but it will certainly be more interesting because of the bigger name.
I agree. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to listening to a Jay Cutler game whenever that happens.
All right, so the Chiefs rookies have reported to their first rookie mini camp this year.
Yep. So, and then Patrick Mahomes had a quote where he said, I don't know. I don't have the exact quote pulled up, but he was talking about just learning the playbook, and he said it's a lot tougher than he thought it would be. So that's Andy Reid's playbook for you. Now at Texas Tech, they ran this air raid system, and everybody was dogging on him because they thought he was just looking at cars on the sideline, and that he, isn't going to know how to call a play. But he cleared that up by saying, no, I actually made a lot of checks at the line. I read the defense. I changed plays. I called plays. I ran the offense. His coach let him do that. So I have full faith in him to learn this playbook and to be able to run it. Maybe even by next year if he's going to be ready by then. I don't know. I'm so excited to see Mahomes under center. I don't want to wait a whole season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to the preseason because he's really going to fit well with our scheme.
Yeah, and it makes you feel good that he's willing to tell the truth and say, you know what, this is kind of hard to learn, but because he has a year to learn the playbook, that I can buy into. Him taking a year to learn that, not necessarily go under Alex Smith and learn all the trades of the game, but to actually take the time and learn the playbook as best as you can. I'll take that. I don't want to see him take 2 years to do that. I want Alex Smith for 1 year and then bring him up, because I don't think I can wait 2 years.
Yeah, me neither. And we'll see. I mean, Alex Smith is due a lot of money in the last year of his contract, so unless he has a career year coming up this season, he's probably going to get cut, and we'll probably see Mahomes
save a lot of money.
2018. Yep, exactly.
Save a lot of money cutting him. All right, and then the final news of the week, Kevin Knox, the 5-star freshman recruit, has committed to the University of Kentucky. He was originally considered signing with Mizzou. Ian, is this a big blow for Mizzou?
I mean, I think it's a decent blow just because I think without Kevin Knox, just with Michael Porter Jr. and a few others who have committed, I don't think this is a team that can win the national championship. Michael Porter Jr. can't do it all himself. I think Kevin Knox definitely would have helped. Maybe the Tigers could have made a tournament run. So as a Mizzou fan, this disappoints me. Obviously, Knox deciding not to come to Mizzou, but it also really gets on my nerves that he chose to go to Kentucky. They already have all the rest of the top recruits. They have by far the most 5-star recruits in the nation without Kevin Knox, and they add Kevin Knox. I mean, it's got to stop. Somebody's got to stop Kentucky from getting all these 5-star recruits. It's ridiculous.
Brandon, as a KU fan, are you scared of Mizzou this year?
Well, I definitely think they're a tournament team now, but without Knox, there's just no way.
Scared of Mizzou? Like
they don't even play each other.
Not even in the same
It's possible. Anymore. It's possible. Come tournament time, they might face each other in the championship.
Or the 1-16 matchup.
Yeah, I don't. 1 versus 16. Yeah, I don't think Kansas is capable of they can't get the 16th seed. They're not a mid-major, so I don't know why you're bringing that up.
Obviously, it's going to take more than one guy like Michael Porter to break the system, because we saw it with Ben Simmons. He went to LSU for a year, but that didn't mean anything because everybody else still went to KU and still went to Kentucky. They still went to the big names, and it's not going to fix overnight with just one guy.
It's definitely a step in the right direction, though, for the program that's just been awful. So I'm excited to watch Michael Porter Jr. I really am.
All right, so that was the headlines of the week. Now we're going to switch gears here and talk a little NBA. More specifically, how do we fix the playoffs, Ian?
Well, this is how you fix the playoffs.
All right, so do you want to go first or should I?
I'll go. I don't know. It depends. My opinion might be a little off the wall. So do you want to save that for?
Okay, I'll go first. Brandon,
Okay,
maybe you can be the judge or you can give us feedback.
Okay.
So basically, the playoffs go on for way too long and predetermines a finals where it's pretty much predetermined between LeBron James. I don't say the Cavs on the show. I just say LeBron James. LeBron James and the Warriors. And I think 99% of the people out there believe that. I think the Celtics could give the Cavs a run for their money this year. But for the most part, I mean, LeBron's been in the last seven seven finals. And so I thought, okay, what about this? There's one thing that baseball does good in the playoffs, and that's their wild card game. So instead of just adding another seed and making that a wild card game, what if the NBA had a first round where every single matchup was a wild card game? So seeds 1 through 8, they all play one game, and it's one game elimination. And if you advance past that, you play a best of 5. And if you make that, then it goes back to the best of 7 in the conference finals, and then a best of 7 in the NBA finals. So in the first round, there's opportunity for teams like the Indiana Pacers to knock off LeBron James and the LeBrons.
The Bulls beat the Celtics.
Yeah,
so.
The Celtics wouldn't be even in the conversation right now. And I looked at the past about LeBron James and how well he does in the first game of the first round of the playoffs. Since 2011, he hasn't lost. So obviously that wouldn't have made a difference there. But I think when you go into a wild card game, a one-game elimination, there's a different mindset, you know?
Yeah,
I mean?
More of the pressure.
And so that's how I would fix the NBA playoffs. I would make the first round one-game elimination, and then the next round, not a best of 7, because the more games you play, if you do a best of 100 or best of 99, you're going to have the best team win, you know? So I think the smaller, the better, more competitive.
All right. So I know everybody loves the series, maybe not 7-game series, but everybody loves the series. People don't just want to watch one game. They want to watch multiple games. But I'm saying if the NBA playoffs are going to be exciting, make them all one game, except for the finals. You can make the finals, make that a 3-game series, sure. Make it kind of like a trilogy, maybe, perhaps, unless, of course, one team took the first 2 games. But we talk about how exciting the NCAA tournament is, and, like, you know, it's because it's all one game. You see these, 3 seeds, 2 seeds, and even 1 seeds get upset early. Maybe not by a 16th seed, but it can happen. And I just think if the NBA went with a system like that, it would make it very exciting. Maybe the TV networks don't get as much money because they don't get to air as many games or whatever. And I think something like that's always going to stop, the series from becoming anything but these 5 or 7-game series. So that's just my solution. Make every game in the playoffs, every series, reduce them to 1 game except for the finals. You can make that a 3-game series just because, I don't know, maybe just to make it more exciting. Or maybe stretch that out to more than just one night. I don't know. That's just my solution. And I know that wouldn't be popular with NBA fans as a whole, and definitely not with ESPN or TNT. But that's just the way I think. That's just how I think the NBA playoffs would be better, especially from my perspective.
Yeah, that's kind of my view too. Like, everybody loves the NCAA tournament, so maybe like add a few more teams to the playoffs and then have it all 1-game eliminations. But I do really like Brad's solution to it.
If you're gonna go that route, then it almost makes the whole 82-game season worthless.
Right.
Why play?
Well,
yeah. You could say that about baseball with the 162 games and it all going, but there's only 2 wild card games, 1 in each league. And I think if you're gonna do wild card, I think it should just be the first round, and then you go to the traditional route. And I think if you make every single matchup a one-game elimination, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose a lot of that NBA nostalgia, and all the stats go out the window. You don't get the cool stats anymore with Kobe averaged this many in the finals, or Jordan did this much in the finals. You don't get that because it's all
right.
What you'd say 3 games.
Well, as far as the regular season argument goes, that's a different discussion. I think the regular season should be shortened by a lot, but I'm just so tired of going into the season. Like, the whole regular season feels like a waste of time. And then you have these playoffs, they still feel like a waste of time. I feel like the season still hasn't started yet. Like, it's in my mind, it's going to be Cavaliers and Warriors. Yeah, maybe the Spurs could beat the Warriors. Maybe the Celtics could beat the Cavaliers. But, basketball isn't like some fluke game where you need a 7-game series. I don't even think you need a 5-game series. Like, baseball, they need that. You can't just have a 1-game series the whole, the entire postseason. Yeah, that 1-game wild card is just an interesting, cool little thing. I think that's good for just the wild card round. But after that, I just don't think basketball needs a 7-game series or even a 5-game series. It's not a fluky game. Like, why do we need... Why was this even established in the first place, having this many games?
Usually the better team wins the first time in basketball.
First or
you
second
look at the
or third
stats
time.
with LeBron in the first round. He's won 21 straight games in the first round.
Yeah, but, still, it's... I don't know. I just... I can't stand going, on Facebook or Twitter or turning on ESPN, and there's so much discussion about LeBron James just beat the Pacers. He just beat the Raptors. Oh, the Warriors just beat the Jazz. No, come on. It doesn't matter. Why are we spending so much time on this, on something that you know what's going to happen? Cavaliers are going to beat these teams that aren't even close. LeBron James just dominates everybody. The Warriors are way too stacked as a team. It's not even fair. They're going to win these series. Why are we spending so much time on this? I'm just tired of it. I would be a lot more interested in it if the playoffs were more exciting, but as it stands today, they're not. They're not exciting at all.
Yeah, maybe that's what it comes down to. Do we want something more exciting, or do we want something where the best team wins all the time?
Right. And I mean, if people want to go with the latter on that, the best team wins, fine. And then I hope those people don't call themselves NCAA tournament fans or anything like that. I just, because that's almost the complete opposite. The best team almost never wins in that. I mean, I don't know if I would call North Carolina the best team in this past year. I think you could argue Duke was better. I think you could argue Kansas was better. But, I mean, the best team hardly ever wins in that tournament. That's what makes it so exciting for me.
Yeah, I'd still want Game 7, though, because, I mean, if you look at the past in the NBA Finals, just last year we saw Game 7, and it doesn't get much more exciting than that game. It went down to the wire. And when they do it right, it's exciting. In 2013, you saw Miami Heat go to the finals against the San Antonio Spurs, and that was another exciting game.
Now, is it exciting because it was a 1-game elimination, like we just had?
I think it's exciting because of the build-up, especially being down 3-1. You could pretty much assume that the Warriors have it in the bag, but they didn't. They had the collapse. And I think sometimes it's got to be a little bit more of a marathon than a sprint, but just to change it up a little. I'm not trying to blow up the whole playoff system. I'm just trying to tweak it a little bit so that we don't get LeBron James going 8-0 in the first 8 games every single year.
That does also increase the risk of injury if you're playing so many pointless games. I do want to say, though, your point about the Game 7s and all that, those back and forths, if it's two really evenly matched teams, then yeah, I think a 7-game series is good in that respect, but that's not usually the case in the playoffs until you get to that point.
Exactly. That's why I say first round wild card, second round best of 5, and then the conference finals and the NBA finals best of 7.
Yeah, I still think it goes on too long. That's why I went ahead and put that 3-game series in the finals. Maybe if you want to tweak my idea, maybe put a 3-game series in the conference finals and then 5-game series in the NBA finals. But at that point, we're 7-game series. I don't know. Just in my opinion, that's just too many.
Yeah. Obviously, it's too much. Yeah. And if you're worried about injury, I don't think it's the playoff games you need to minimize. It's the regular season games you need to minimize. And
well, again, I feel like the regular season is way too long.
I wonder what that would do for LeBron, because he's already saying that it's pointless now. What if the NBA decided to change it so it's just a one game? I wonder how LeBron would react to that.
I don't know. I mean,
like, do the 82 games in the regular season become even more pointless?
He apparently thinks they're pointless. He's always sitting out during the regular season. Maybe that's another reason the regular season should be shortened, because these stars like LeBron, they don't want to play. They don't want to play it.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron never went to college, so he never had that pressure of the NCAA tournament. So
exactly,
it'd be different
he
for
wouldn't
him.
know.
Yeah, but I know Boston lost again, and now it's a 2-2 series against the Wizards. But I really believe that this is a team that's going to give the Cavs a run for their money.
IT4.
Exactly.
I like Isaiah Thomas, but there's no shot.
You know,
I'm telling you right now.
I'd go as far to say I love Isaiah Thomas. He's so fun to watch, and I know even when he's struggling, he's how tall is he? He's less than 6 foot.
He's like 5'10".
5'10", yeah.
That's inspiring.
Sure.
Even though that's still taller than me, because I'm only 5'9", but that's inspiring to see a guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, once the finals finally come, it'll be Cavaliers-Warriors. I'm saying this right now. I think it would be cool to see another team like the Celtics or the Spurs, but when the finals finally do roll around, I still don't think I'm going to be interested, just because it's been the same two teams the last 3 years. That's another problem with the NBA, these super teams that have formed. We had the Heat just a few years ago. Yeah, that broke up, and now we have the Warriors, and you can even say the Cavaliers if you want, or just LeBron James.
I would have respected the Warriors up until they got Kevin Durant.
That's
because
really,
before then it was all pretty much homegrown.
Pretty much, yeah. And then the Kevin Durant thing, like that still gets on my nerves.
All right, so really quickly, I had the nice chair again for the second week in a row, mainly because our predictions did not happen. Neither of us were right for last week for how many games the Royals would win. So what kind of bet do we want to make now to see who gets the nice chair for next week? Brandon, if you have an idea, you can chirp in.
Well, I don't want to make it the Royals again.
What else is there besides the Royals?
Maybe the Cavs lose.
Maybe.
Okay.
When does that start?
Let me look it up.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, how many games are they playing?
I got my phone up.
Series probably want to be over by next Monday. Unless we wanted to make it that long of a bet. Maybe somebody doesn't have to have the chair next week.
You know, I don't even think they might not even play this whole week, because the Wizards and Celtics could possibly go to Game 7.
The NBA playoffs are so long. When did it start? The beginning of April? And it goes till
mid to end June, yeah.
It's so long.
What's today? Is today the 8th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the Warriors and Jazz play today. If the Jazz win, I get the chair. How about that? I'm calling it.
Okay, sure. I mean, it could happen because they could win one game.
They're playing in Utah, and if you have ever been to Utah, you know that there's a huge advantage playing there.
Yeah, I'll still pick the Warriors.
I'm just kidding. It's Utah.
I would not know, so I took it for what you were saying. But okay. Warriors win, I get the chair, and if Jazz win, you get the chair.
I'm pretty much donating the chair to you right now. All right. Anyways, thank you, Brandon, for texting in and listening to our show.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
I appreciate you listening, and I hope you enjoy your prize.
I will.
If you want to win another prize next week, we'll have something different. Go ahead and listen to us and then text us. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, K-Roo Radio, or Benchwarmers on K-Roo Radio. That's the Facebook name. All right, have a good week.